Hi, TJ. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Tori?
I'm great. I'm just double checking to make sure it is pulling up on Facebook. So give me a second. I'm not sure if it's live or not. Let's see. Yep, it did it again. So, all right. All right, TJ, we're live. Okay, so I'm logged out. How have you been?
I've been okay. Just been working. That's about it.
Cool, cool. I hope you're getting proper rest like you should.
No, actually, I'm not. But I mean, I'm gonna tell you like I told my wife. I said I'm tired, but I'm a good tired. Like there's a
Okay.
difference between being tired and being good tired. Good tired means that you're tired because you feel like you're maximizing all of your potential. Okay, so between me working and of course at the station 90.9 and also just taking on a job. I'm working overnights now, so I mean I'm enjoying every aspect of it. Ain't nothing wrong with that, I guess.
That's a real man answer.
Yeah, I mean still a little concerned though. I mean we kind of had some words, because I guess she's like really concerned about me. She wants me to get like proper rest, but I'm like, you got to do what you got to do sometimes, especially for your
Yeah,
family. I just think that I guess that's just a man in me, I guess, like
yeah.
I just feel like, I mean, you want to go hard for your family. And if you're tired because you're trying to do something for them, I don't mind being tired at all.
Yeah, right, right. I'm telling you, that's the real man answer.
Yeah.
But anyway, we know you got to go live on the air at 2 o'clock, so we're gonna keep this short. Of course, everyone that knows me know that domestic violence is very near and dear to my heart, and of course. I'm in a hot seat today because I'm actually going to be talking about my personal experience with domestic violence. Me and TJ, we always freestyle. So I have no idea what he's going to ask, but it's not going to be a long interview because I'm an emotional person and I don't want to start crying on this live. So, TJ, I'm giving you the mic. Just ask me what you want to ask me. And of course, also at the end of the broadcast, we're going to give out that national hotline, for those that may be in a domestic violence situation. So the
Yeah.
mic is yours.
Well, yeah, the first thing I wanted to just ask you, I mean, I've just been checking out your broadcasts and stuff, you on 90.9 from 10 to 2, but I noticed you've been, plugging domestic violence awareness month. Of course, this is domestic violence awareness month. So I just wanted to ask you, what makes you like really be an advocate, what I'm saying, for domestic violence awareness?
Well, not only because I've experienced it myself, but because I've witnessed it. And here's the thing. I witness on from different perspectives where the woman is being abused. I've seen where the man is being abused, where the woman is the aggressor. I've seen it also. There's also cases, it's not always in relationships. There's also, I consider, when there's abuse from the parents, that there are some parents that are abusing their children because you have some kids that unfortunately, some that have to stay home now because of the pandemic. Some kids being at school was their escape from being at home with the abuse. So I love children and I don't like to see children abused. So because of my personal experience and because of things that I've seen, I'm very, very, very passionate about it. And I will always be passionate about it and speak out about it.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on something that a lot of people aren't probably aware of. I mean, the fact that this whole pandemic stemming back from March, you have a
Mhm.
lot of people that are not used to being at home with one another. Honestly, they're being all on top of each other right now. All in each other's space, and it's been causing like a huge amount of domestic violence cases. I remember like maybe like the month of April and May, they said there was a huge spike in domestic violence, mostly coming from husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, because everybody was quarantining at this time. So you know, but like you said, with the kids, there's no escape. Some of the things that that got them out of the house, they couldn't do, because we were dealing with COVID-19. Still is, still
Mhm.
are dealing with COVID
Yeah.
19. But
Yeah.
I just think that that's very sad. That people are dealing with these things. I was looking at some of the statistics before we actually did this podcast, and they said 1 in 4 women, deal with domestic violence every 20 seconds. Every 20 seconds, Tori. Yeah, right? Every 20 seconds, a woman is being abused. And the thing about it is, it's not, just, you know, um, I'm saying, like, women is guys too, I think
Mhm.
people need to understand that too, like, people just think about domestic violence. They just think about it from a woman's standpoint, which I'm saying is a huge percentage. But I'm saying, it don't just, I mean, it's not just for women, it's for men as well. I'm saying, the numbers show. But for every 20 seconds a woman is being abused, and it's by people that they actually know, like their significant other. So, I just want to ask you about your story. Let us know about your story. Um, you know, how, did it all start? Like, I guess you can just start from the beginning and just let us know, like, about your story.
Well, basically, in the beginning, of course, in the beginning of any relationship, everything is be all peachy, and but I noticed probably, and let me say this, I for some reason I've always dated older for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, so I've always for some reason dated between 5, maybe 10, and the largest number was 20 years
Wow.
older. But I've always dated much older because I felt like the older guys were much more mature. At least that was my mindset at that time.
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the relationship, everything was good. Everything was peachy. We used to go out and the normal stuff, go out to dinner. And I'm the type of person, how they have the, what do you call it? Your love languages. Okay, for me, my love language is the gifts and affirmations. Those are my two main forms of love
Wait, hold
languages.
on. Backtrack here. For those that may not know what love language actually is, can you explain to the people out there what exactly is love language?
Well, basically, it's your way of how you feel loved. I can't remember. Oh God, you would ask me that question. I don't have the book. I don't know all the love language, but I know it's like acts of service. One of them is touch. One of them is affirmation. There's like two more, but it's like your way of how you determine how you want people to express their love for you.
Right.
So some people like to, their acts of services. Okay, quality time is one. Thank you so much, Renisha. Quality time is one. And what is the other one? There's quality time, touch, acts of service, affirmation, and there's one because it's like five love languages. But my two main are the affirmation. I like to be complimented, and I like for you to, basically, show me. That's my way of feeling like you love me. If you affirm me for some reason. I like the affirmations, and I love quality time as well. Gifts is another one.
Right.
So we started out, and we would actually, like I said, normally we would go out to dinner.
Right.
He was very charming, and it was like, see, like in the beginning, it was like a world. It was like a love story in the beginning,
Right.
and I would say probably 6 to 7 months into the relationship, I noticed that he started to be very aggressive because, of course, I've been doing radio for 20 years. And some people that you date, they're not going to be able to handle, you know, if, men coming to talk to you and stuff like that, they're not able to handle that. So he was one of those people that was not able to handle that. I mean, I'm with you, but of course, people that hear me on the radio, they're going to want to talk to me. They're going to want to approach me. They want to, because I'm the type of person, I talk to everybody. I don't have any strangers. So he did not was not able to handle that. So I would get, a lot of guys that would approach me, and, some were, just cordial, and some, they, were inappropriate, which, it was understandable for him to get angry, but it wasn't anything that I did. Because as you know, you're in radio too. There's going to be people that are going to come up. They're going to recognize you because they see you, they hear you, especially when you're out broadcasting, they know what you look like. And this is the crazy thing. When we do what we do, people are seeing us, they're hearing us, and we're not always going to know these people, but people know us because they see our face. That's why I told you guys before that I was leery of the social media thing, because people can actually see you. But long story short, people would approach me, and that was like one of the stems of one of, most of our arguments, because I'm a friendly person and I talk to everyone. And that was like mostly the most cause all the arguments. So I noticed that he would start telling me that, would say stuff that I thought that I was better. And, and I'm like, just because I'm in front of a microphone, that does not make me different from anyone else. I'm a person just like everybody else, but I'm just a people person. I love people and I love talking to people. But that was like one of the things where you think you're better because you're on you're on the radio. You think you're better. You think you all of this, and because you're getting all this attention, who do you think you are? And I will say, because a lot of people say, well, why did you stay? I would say I'm the type of person that I don't go from man to man. That's just never been my thing. If I'm with you, I'm with you. So I know that I stayed longer than I should have, but it was just one of those things because I don't want to take the time to get to know someone all over again. So I stayed. So I don't want to keep you long, but let me just tell you about when I knew it was bad. I stayed in a relationship unfortunately, I stayed for 5 long years, and it got so bad to the point where one night I had an event, and I think the event was in Marion, South Carolina. Had an event where I was hosting a show, and a guy was talking to me, and I'm gonna be transparent. At that time, I was a drinker because I used to drink at one point. And at that time I was drinking heavily, but I had different men to approach me. So this one guy in particular approached me, and I was just, just having a casual conversation. So when we left the event, he started telling me, why was he all in your face? And, and next thing I know, he's criticizing me, and he's telling me, you didn't have, you saw that I was there with you. You should not have entertained the conversation. And I was like, he's just a listener. We were just, conversating. So he just started going off. Next thing I know, TJ, he hits me.
Wow.
He hits me. He punches me in my face. And so for a split second, when he punches me in my face, I'm just like, okay. So then it's like I snapped. I snapped, and I just started wailing on him. Next thing I know, we're literally, mind you, we're in the car. So the whole time this altercation is going on, he's driving. Right. And so he's like holding the wheel with one hand and punching me with the other hand. And I'm like, because I'm in the passenger side, I'm like fighting with both my hands. So then he stops the car in the middle of the road. And I remember I had on a cream. I will never forget. I had on this all cream white suit. I had on clear shoes. And I remember I took off my jacket, and I was fighting with didn't have my shirt on. And we were like in the middle of the street fighting. And I remember one of my listeners rode by. It was a older lady. She rode by, and she saw what was going on, and she just started screaming because she couldn't believe that this was happening. And they tried to, they pulled us apart. And the thing about it, my phone and my purse was still in the car. So when I went to try to go get it, he drove off, and I'm like, and it wasn't, and then he drove off, and then he came back, and then when he came back, I jumped in front of the car, and he hit the brakes, and the car almost ran over me. And like when the car hit me, I fell, and the wheel was touching my arm to where he stopped in time before he was actually going to run me over. And so he got out the car, saw that I was distraught, and he was just like telling me how I deserved it and did not apologize. Wow. So he ended up leaving me in Marion, South Carolina. So my listener actually had to take me to the station to get my things. And basically, he came up to the station and tried to apologize. But of course, I wasn't trying to hear that. And mind you, like I said, because I'm not one of those people that go from man to man, when he apologized, dummy me, accepted apology. And
let me cut you off. I don't think that you were dumb. You know, I think we as people sometimes we want to be fixers, right? You know what I'm saying? Like we want to try to fix the issues that's going on. Most of the time is us wanting to fix the person. And we feel like by longevity, we feel like maybe that person will come around to being the person that we want them to be. You know, but just listening to like the beginning of your story, it just sounds like to me like this guy was battling with insecurities. And I think that the fact that you were actually on the radio, you know, like when you're actually doing broadcasting, people come up to you, you know, I listen to you all the time, and it almost like validates you. And I think it's being in broadcasting is a little bit special because you get that instant gratification. And it's also, if you're with someone, they can actually see how you make that other person feel. And if they're not like embedded in their self-confidence, like that can affect them. I feel like the brother just seemed like he had a lot going on with him personally. And maybe he didn't see the things that probably made him a special person. You know what I'm saying? And he felt like maybe by bringing you down to his level, it would make him feel comfortable. And I think that the fighting was just a crescendo. You know what I'm saying? It was that bottled up frustration about actually seeing you in a room with people that actually see you for being something special. He couldn't deal with it. And it was like the straw that kind of broke the camel's back, so to speak. But, you know, I just had to say that. You can go ahead and finish with your story.
I appreciate that. Actually, everything you said is on point. And I actually noticed Ronisha and Dwayne. Dwayne was saying the insecurity, like you said, and Ronisha said that I wasn't dumb. I didn't know my worth. And I will say that I will piggyback off that. That is absolutely right. At that time, I did not know my worth. My self-esteem was low. All I wanted was to be loved, because I'm the type of person, I show people love all the time. That's just how I am. Right. I have a huge heart, and I'm trying not to cry.
I mean, I've been there myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, the confident person that, you know, that you see now, I wasn't always that person. Like, I used to get clowned all the time. You know, I battled with self-esteem. My sister would normally like joke around with me, and she said, you know, when I feel like, you know, pretty low, she said, you still got that ugly boy complex. You know what I'm saying? You still looking at yourself as that boy with the weird-shaped lemon head and big ears, you know? And she like, you haven't seen what, you know what I'm saying, what you blossom to. It's almost like that story, you know, like if people say the ugly duckling, so to speak. You know, the ugly duckling, you know, he was cast out by his, you know, by his brothers and sisters. Nobody wanted to be around him. And they said for a whole like season, he just swam around and then look at himself. And then all of a sudden, he rolled up on a whole bunch of swines and they asked him, "Can you come with us?" And he was like, "Why you want to
Mhm.
come with me? I mean, why I want to come with you? Why y'all want to affiliate with me?" He didn't even look at his reflection and see that he actually turned into a swine himself. So sometimes, sometimes we're so beat up by life, rather it be
Mhm.
like some of the things that we heard, or even like the issues that we deal with ourselves, and we don't understand what we actually turned into. But just like any lump of coal, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, eventually it turns into a diamond, and it turns into a
Yeah.
diamond through a process. So, I
Mhm.
mean, now you're shining. So,
Right, right, right. That's true. But at that time, I really didn't know who Tori was. I was
right,
in, and this is the thing. I was in my 20s, and now I'm in my 40s. But at that time, I was in my 20s
right,
when I was going through that. So of course, I was constantly trying to in search of myself.
right,
I did not know, like I said before, I didn't know my worth. There's no way possible that I could have loved myself, because if I truly loved myself, then I wouldn't not allow someone to treat me that way, especially for 5 long years. It's like, and here's the thing. Here's one of the issues that I have, and sometimes I still suffer with this, but sometimes I'm so protective of other people's feelings when they don't care about mine. I'm too busy worrying about, well, I don't want to do this to hurt I don't want to do this to hurt them, or I don't want to hurt their feelings. But sometimes I'm learning, and I'm just learning them probably like 3 weeks in, that sometimes you got to be selfish. Sometimes you got to look out for yourself, because
right,
if you are constantly looking out for other people, you find yourself depleted. And I've noticed that when I'm constantly looking out for other people, I find myself depleted. And I actually just came to this realization, like I'm telling you, I'm 3 weeks in, because I'm constantly worrying about other people, making sure other people are good. And it's the crazy thing. Like when I was in that relationship, um, it's like I'm that type that if I'm with you, if I have an issue with you or we're out in public, I'm not going to public embarrass you. When we out in public, I'm going to praise you, and I'm going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to love up you in public. But if I have an issue, I'm going to wait till we get back to the house or back to in private. I'm not like, you know, I will say at one time, especially in that relationship, I was a great at pretending. Great at pretending. Like things were all good. That's why when things ended abruptly, when they did, and people start to find out exactly what was going on, they never knew because I hid it. And that's one of the things that I was telling when me and Brittany talked last week. I was saying that sometimes we are so private that we are hurting ourselves because we are suffering in silence. Like what would have happened in that situation? Because like I said, the car the car stopped to where it almost ran me over. So what if, God forbid, if something would have happened to me, people would have been like, where did this come from? Because nobody knew what was going on, because
right.
I'm a private person and I don't like people in my business. But sometimes in those situations, you have to reach out to people that you can trust and tell people what's going on. Because if something happens and people are wondering why they didn't say it, you know what I
Yeah, I mean, that's because the society that we live in. Like you look on social media, you see couples, they all hugged up, booed up, like, and they give you this imagery that they're the perfect couple, but they don't, show you the behind the scenes stuff.
mean?
It's almost like that great movie, right? With the
Yeah.
special effects, like they don't really want to show you the parts about the green screen and stuff like that. They don't want to show you that stuff because that's not the most interesting thing.
Yeah.
So I think that not just you, but a lot of people caught up with that. Nobody want to sit up there and be like, you know, I sure wish my wife get that crust out of her eye this morning. You know what I'm saying? That's been, I mean, I mean, my husband kissed me in his breast thing. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like we show like our highlights, right? Because we
Mhm.
think that's what people want to see. So
Mm-hmm.
I do agree. You know, people need to start having those type of conversations with people that they trust.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I don't know, it's just that the whole thing about part of us want our friends to be a tad bit envious of what we have. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so if we expose that one thing, like, oh, you know what I'm saying, there's some chinks in the armor here. You know what I'm saying? Like, would I stand out? Would my relationship seem that special? You know, I mean, it's all, you know, I guess, you know, it's just that whole keeping up appearances thing. So I don't, again, I don't blame you, you know, for feeling the way you do, because every situation and thought pattern that you mentioned, I'm sure that people that are watching this podcast or people that's listening, you know what I'm saying, listening to it, you know what I'm saying, by audio, I'm pretty sure they can relate to it. They can relate, you know, because everybody wants that, you know, nobody really wants everybody all up in their business. And that's including like some of your good friends, you know?
Right. So. Right. And here's the thing. And we talked about this before. Here's the sick, twisted thing. And is that for some reason, how do I say it? How to work? You remember I was telling you I was attracted to the bad boys. Right. So that was another reason too, where I stayed longer than I should, because I was attracted to the bad guy image. And in some sick, twisted way in my mind, it is, I don't know, like, yeah, he's beating me, but what did I do to make him act that? You know what I mean? I'm telling you, that's how, TJ, I'm telling you, that's how lost I was. I'm thinking, what did I do to trigger him? What can I do differently so that I don't trigger him?
You know,
I mean,
you know what? I always wonder, like, you know, we call it, why we always gotta have these come to Jesus meetings. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's obviously the other person, right? Like, I feel like this. Like, I understand about reflecting and looking at yourself in the mirror. I believe in that stuff. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, like, we have to look at the other person too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have flaws, of course, but why am I reacting the way that I am? You know, like, why am I putting all this pressure on myself and that person is not putting any type of pressure on themselves? Now, be that as it may, like you're talking about, you know, saying some of your feelings, and I've been there myself, you know, like not understanding my self-worth. You know, like I said, I had that whole ugly guy complex or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Anytime I was in a relationship, I felt like it was just an honor and a privilege to actually have somebody. You know what I'm saying? I've been there myself, but yeah. And I started to wonder, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's fine for me to keep looking in the mirror, but I don't think nothing wrong with me all of the time. You know what I'm saying? And why is this person not looking at themselves? Why are they trying to be a person that's constantly receiving from me? You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, and that's kind of like why we get to a point of exhaustion, because we find ourselves thinking about what can I do? How can I change this? How can I change that? And we become mentally and emotionally exhausted. And, you know, and then you get to a point where nothing is wrong with you, but you're still trying to find that another person is just still telling you that. But let's go ahead and talk. Let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit more. So you said that you didn't really understand your self-worth. Was he doing anything to try to help you at this particular time? Was there something that he was actually saying to you that was possibly, you know, causing you to not find your self-worth?
In the beginning, he would compliment me a lot, but then towards the end of the relationship, it got to the point where you're gaining weight. Why do you wear your hair like that? And, you know, different little things. And of course, you know, I'm from the South. I'm a Southern girl. You know, of course, you know, I got a college education, but of course I can get real country. But of course, you know how sometimes we can switch it off, be professional You're like, why
Right.
are you talking? And I don't know why people say this when you talk the correct way, why you're talking a certain way, you know where I'm going.
Right.
Why you're talking that way. He would say, why are you talking that way? And you know,
Why you talking white? Yeah,
right.
I say something like that. Hey,
Right.
look, keep it 100. Yeah.
Right. I
Which I
didn't
don't
want
understand. But Tori, which I don't understand. Like, why is correct grammar, why is correct grammar affiliated, you know what I'm saying, with the opposite race? I really just don't know, Like,
yeah.
I don't feel like we need to characterize that, but that's another story for another day. Back to what you were
Yeah.
saying. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
But it's just like, he's just started being super critical of me. And like I said, I just, because I didn't love myself, I did not know my self-worth. And just like Renisha said that he was breaking me down mentally. And that's exactly what happened when you're broken down. Sometimes when you're constantly told something and you're broken down mentally
Right.
and emotionally, you start to believe that. So, well, maybe something is wrong with me. I mean, that's just how it was. But let me tell you something. That is not who I am today.
That's
And
good.
I feel like even though it was a very traumatic experience, I think I had to go through that in order to become the woman that I am today. And I'm
Okay.
still, and even
Wait,
though,
wait. Before you get into that, hold on to that point because I
Mhm.
want the listeners to understand what got you to that point. Now we understand about, a near death experience. Let's call it for what it is. That was a
Yeah.
near death experience.
Mhm.
What was that moment? As Oprah would say, the aha moment that actually got you to that point. Like, this ain't it. I got to get up out of here because this is not good for me. What was that moment like? And take us to that moment.
At the end of the relationship, what got me to that point was it got to the point where I was literally getting sick, like in my body, getting sick. And when it got to the point where I was getting sick, to the point where I was like throwing up, it got to the point where I was throwing up every day. I started getting migraines really, 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 really bad. And it was to the point where just the sound of his voice annoyed me. Anything he did annoyed me. And I just woke up. I can't tell you the exact moment, but just one day I just woke up different. And I was like, this is not healthy. This is not something that I need to stay into. And like sometimes we feel stuck because, like I said, I didn't want to take the time to get to know somebody else. Because you know how sometimes you get so close to people that you share your innermost secrets with them. I was like, God, I got to get to know somebody. But when at the end of that relationship, when I woke up different one morning, I just said to myself, you know what? I can't, because a lot of times we make the mistake of thinking in order for us to heal, we have to immediately jump in another relationship. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself time to heal before you move on to that next relationship. So what I did when I got out that relationship towards the end, when I woke up that particular moment and I said, this isn't healthy. And I was physically getting sick. And it's like, I'm going to the doctor. I'm having these migraines, having MRIs, CAT scans on my head. They're not able to find what's going on, what was, but it was the stress and all of that, everything that I was going through. Because when I took the MRIs, they couldn't find anything on the test. They couldn't find any. They test my brain and all. They could not find anything.
Right.
And I will say too, that night, and I forgot about this part. That particular night, when he was beating me in my head, I was like touching my head like 2 days later, and I had like probably 3 or 4 lumps in my head.
Wow.
That had knotted up on my head. And it's like recently, in recent years, after that, and I can't prove that that's why I was having the headaches, but it's just after that relationship, I started constantly having migraines even more. Thank God they have gotten better. but I can't prove if that's what it stemmed from, him beating me in my head like that to the point where I had knots and lumps in my head.
Right.
But I started having migraines years down the road. But I decided when I woke up that morning and woke up different, what I had to do is wait till, because we wasn't living together. We put that out there. We wasn't living together. But I would spend time at his place. So I waited till he went to work, got all of my things.
Right.
I left. I didn't look back. I changed my phone number. And at that time I wasn't on social media, so that wasn't even an issue. I wasn't on social media at that time. So I changed my number and I just didn't look back. And from that day forward, I started to love myself more, but I didn't love myself completely because I still would let people get over on me and find myself in situations that I didn't belong because I didn't fully love myself. Like I said, I'm just like fully loving myself. I'm probably like 3-4 weeks in. Seriously.
So
it hasn't been a month yet.
Let me ask you this: is there like I guess like a situation or something like that caused you to second guess yourself or not show yourself self-love? You know, is there like something you can actually pinpoint to? Is it something that you always dealt with? Can you think about maybe why you know you have dealt with that over the years?
I just, growing up as a little girl, I just never felt like I was enough. And that was even, I don't know, I just never felt like I was enough. I felt like I was always that person going out of my way for other people, and I didn't feel the love. And I'm gonna be transparent. It's just, you know, I gotta be honest because there's people that really know me. Growing up as a little girl, I didn't feel love from my parents, mainly my mom. And that rejection, especially from your mom, and feeling like you're not enough or that she doesn't love you, you're going to go out and look for love in the wrong places. So I think that's basically what it stemmed from, because I didn't feel like my mom loved me. So I would go and try to over love other people.
Right.
And
trying to, so
but that rejection is painful. The pain of rejection is painful. So I think that's what it was, the rejection. That's why I just overly love people, because I don't ever want people to feel like they're not loved. So I go out of my way for people. And sometimes when I do that, I deplete myself. And because I have given everybody so much of me that I didn't have anything left for me. So I'm just learning that everything that I give to other people, I can give it to myself. All the love that I give to other people, I can give it to Tori. And like I said, I just got here, TJ. I just got here to where I'm at peace, where I'm learning that all that love that you're giving to this person and that person, Tori, you're not giving it to Tori.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing now. That's why I'm so at peace now. And that's like I was telling you before, I do a lot of fasting and praying, and I read Bible plans, I journal, I write poetry. And poetry for me is very therapeutic for me. Right. It's getting me to putting my pain on paper. And I'm realizing too, like I was saying before, there's a purpose for everything that we go through in life. There's a purpose for the pain. And my story may help somebody else uh, get out of a situation that they may be in. You know what I mean? Because I
Right.
believe that we don't always go through things for ourselves. Sometimes we go through things so that we can go back and bring somebody else out of that situation.
Right. I,
So I'm just, like I said, I'm just getting there. Like this
it's a
past week,
process. You know.
yeah, this past weeks, 3 weeks to be exact, that I've been so at peace.
Mhm.
It's kind of scary because, like, there's nothing that I'm stressing about right now. There's
Right.
nothing that can steal my joy.
Right.
And I know that's because I have been in my secret place having my one-on-one time with God.
Right.
And that is the greatest peace ever. That
Mm.
is the greatest peace. I can't explain it. All I can tell people, I don't know what people religion is or anything like that. All I can say is that when you have that personal relationship with God, He will give you a peace that is so amazing. I can't even put it into words. It's just that's just where I am. And like I said, I just got here recently
That's
because
wonderful.
I just went through. I go through a lot of hurt and pain because I think because we have to realize, and what I'm realizing is that sometimes you can. I feel as though that God places us in certain people's lives for a reason, and He assigns
Mhm.
us to certain people for a reason because He wants them to see the God in us. But here's the thing, we have to realize that just because you may be assigned to someone, that doesn't necessarily mean they're assigned to you. Meaning you
Right.
got to give them what God is instructing you to give them, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be reciprocated and it's going to be given back to you in return. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm learning that as well. And here's the other thing I think that I'm learning too as well, that when God places people in my life that pour into me like I pour into other people, because I'm so you have been so used to dysfunction, I'm finding myself in some cases it's hard to believe, especially when it's coming from a man. I'm wondering, okay, is it, does he have a motive for doing this? Why is he being so nice? Because I have a male friend now, he's extremely nice. And I'm like, what's the catch?
Mm.
But he's like, Tori, and he's like, the only thing I want, from you, I don't want anything from you. Just pray for me. He's like, just pray for me. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm trying to learn that, there are still some good people out there. Not everybody has a motive. But like I
Right.
said, because I've been through so much pain and dysfunction, in the back of my mind, sometimes I feel like, people are having a motive, but there are some good people out there. And I like, Tori, you be good. You're good to people. So there are other people that have good hearts. Not everybody's all bad.
Right.
So
I
I'm
mean, it's a true.
learning that. I'm
Yeah. I mean,
learning.
like I say, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, I mean, but the thing about it is, we go through these situations. It makes us stronger. It makes us better. It
Hmm.
makes us see the world more clear. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, that we have to go through some of these trials and tribulations. You know, we
Hmm.
have to go through these things in order for us to learn from 'em. I mean, I think about some of the things I did in my 20s. I think about some of the decisions that I made. I wouldn't make those decisions at age 34. You know,
Hmm.
I wouldn't. You know, and honestly, I think about this all the time. I'm glad that I met my wife at the stage of my life that I did, because
Hmm.
I would not have been mature enough to receive the love that she had to give to me, and I wouldn't have taken it so serious. You know, I just feel like, things were my steps were ordered by a guy, and for me to be at this particular moment in my life to receive the love that she had for me, and even vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I'm comfortable with saying that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm something to
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
But it's a process though. It's a process. But
Yeah.
Tori, for somebody that's checking out this podcast, they heard your story. And you shared some tears. I mean, you can tell it's extremely emotional for you, but there are women, even guys, you know, that they're going through these type of situations right now. You know, that it's hard for them to let go. It's hard for them to try to love themselves, to try to find their self worth. So this is the moment right here. What would you tell a person that's going through this type of situation, that's trying to find themselves, that maybe be looking for a way out but don't know how? What is your advice to them?
Well, first of all, I would tell them to, of course, pray about the situation. But just like I said before, praying is not enough. You have got to love yourself. You have got to reach out to people. Like I said previously as well, don't be so private that you don't reach out to people that you know genuinely care about you.
Right.
Because, and even if you don't, there are uh 800 numbers that you can call. But here's the thing, I was telling me and Brittany had this conversation as well. There are some situations, even if you're in a situation, and say that if it's a husband and wife or whatever the case may be, and there are some situations where the woman is not working, the man is the sole provider, so they feel as though they're stuck. To that person and to people that are in that situation, I say to you, I know it's going to be hard, but I would say to still leave. Sometimes you have to step out on faith. You don't even know, I mean, step out into the unknown. And when you fully trust God, He will I'm telling you, when you fully trust Him, everything will fall into place. So if you're in that situation, you feel like you're stuck because you're not working, step out on faith. And I promise you, I can assure you, everything will fall into place, because that's exactly where I am. I had to step out on faith, and even some things now that I'm working on, stepping out on faith. And once I put my trust fully in Him, everything start working out. I would say pray. First of all, talk to someone, like I said, talk to someone that you can trust. And if you're in that situation where you feel like, just pack up, even if it's just some clothes. And if you got kids, grab the babies and go. And in some cases, I would advise you, especially if you are living with that person, I will advise you to do it when they leave for work, because it could get kind of ugly if you're trying to do it while they're there. I would encourage you to do it when they're not there. And when they come back, you go. It's simple as that. Sometimes we love people so much to the point where our love and our loyalty to them is so strong that we betray ourselves. So we can't love somebody more than we love ourselves. Like I said previously, sometimes you got to be selfish. Just get your stuff and leave. And call somebody that you can trust. And like I said, if there's somebody, because some people feel like they're alone in this world. There are numbers and agencies out there to help you. I wouldn't want no abuse and wish no bad on anyone. Because I believe a lot of people say that, and like you said earlier too, sometimes we feel as though we can fix people. It's not our job to fix them. Only God can do that.
Right.
The person that person has to want to change, and God is the only one that has the capabilities to make them change. So we have to also in the mindset that we can change people, because we can't. People change when they want to change, and like I said, only God can change it. So I would encourage anyone that's going through, whether you're a man or a woman. And let me say this, I said this before, the men that are in these situations, don't feel ashamed, because like I shared with Brittany last week, I have witnessed a man get physically attacked. Sorry, guys. Hold on. I have witnessed people get physically attacked. A man get physically attacked from a woman, and he made the choice not to fight back.
Right.
So I just feel as though anybody that you're in this situation, to please get out. I encourage you to get out.
Yeah, it's important for you to to get out. You know what I'm saying? It's very important. I just think that we have so much strength inside of us. It's the type of strength that we probably haven't tapped into, but
Mm-hmm.
it exists, and all
Mm-hmm.
it takes is a made up mind.
Yes.
I think that becomes a cliche because we use it in all aspects about starting businesses and all type of other things, but it starts with is a made up mind. To
Mm-hmm.
understand your work, to understand that you are special, that God made you unique. God made you as, that like everything. I tell people all the time, if you look at, if you look at the word in the beginning, when God created everything, it said it
Mm-hmm.
was good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he made man and woman, he said, let us make man in his image, in his likeness. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So we are of God.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that he made was good.
Mm-hmm.
God made you special. God made you unique, and he knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it so well that he rested on the seventh day. So I'm saying
Right.
you are perfection, and there's nothing wrong with you at all. And I understand people want love. I mean, like you said, I mean, people want to be loved. People want to be touched. People want to be appreciated. People want to be admired. But you have to have somebody out there that is going to receive the type of love that you have and also give you the type of love that you're giving out. But it all starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with you loving yourself, because if you love yourself, then you don't have to look for anybody else to love you because you already got enough love for yourself. And I
Right.
always go back to my mom. My mom says, for you to find somebody, this was what she told me. This was during a time when I was dealing with a breakup, and before I met my wife, she
Mm-hmm.
said it's okay to love somebody. She said love a person with everything you have. She said, but why you giving out all of that loving? Save a little love for yourself. And that's what I said. And love yourself enough to know what you deserve. You don't deserve to be beaten. You don't deserve to be ridiculed. You don't deserve to be cursed at. You don't deserve any of those things. You deserve to be appreciated for the kings and the queens that you are. And if a person is not giving you that, have enough love and have enough confidence to know that there's someone out there that is going to be willing to give that to you. So that would be my advice to a person, that's dealing with those type of things, that it's okay to walk away,
Yeah.
because you don't want to stay too long, because you don't. I mean, we don't want to hear about some of these stories that's been going on. Like I said at the beginning of the podcast, domestic violence numbers at an all-time high, and people right now are dealing with all type of things. The frustrations of the conditions of this world. You know what I'm saying? Like dealing with COVID-19, I get all that, but that will give a person an excuse to touch you, lay their hands on you, or make you feel like you're nothing
Yeah.
because you're something today.
Yeah.
So, Tori, I know you said you had the number that you wanted to give everybody. So, if you can give people a number or a website that they can
Yeah, the
find
number,
you.
the 800 number that you can call is 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-7233. 7233. And also let me add this as well. When we go through these situations, whether it be romantically, with friends, because there's situations where you can be in a friendship that's not healthy as well,
Right.
or if you go through a situation where it's the parents involved, I say to you also, that you have to find it in your heart to forgive, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself bitter.
Right.
And when you don't make a choice to forgive, you're blocking yourself from getting the love that you totally deserve, and you won't be able to receive the love that people be willing to give you, and you'll be blocking yourself from the love that you deserve. So I wanted to add that as well. Make sure that you forgive, because as a matter of fact, just a couple of days ago, because I get up daily and I pray daily around 5 a.m.
Right.
And just the other day, Wednesday morning, God placed it on my heart to just pray for everybody that it hurt me, whether it was intentional or unintentional. I don't know why, but there are some people in particular that I had to physically call out their name, because sometimes we can say that we forgive when we actually don't. We're telling ourselves that we forgive, but we actually don't, because we are constantly, and what hinders our healing process sometimes is I know I have been guilty of this, and I'm sure other people as well. What hindered my healing process, I was holding so tightly to the hurt and the pain. So it allowed me to slow down the process. But like I said, I let everything go, and I prayed for some people just the other day, and I just feel so free. So once again, because I know you got to go on the air, that number, that national hotline that you guys need to call is 1-800-799-7233. And TJ, thank you so much for interviewing me and allowing me the opportunity to tell my story.
And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity, and thank you for being so candid about your story. And I'm pretty sure when a person watches this, and for those that have been watching it live, I know that they're appreciative of the story that you're telling, and hopefully you'll touch somebody for them to make a decision that can change their life for the better.
All right. Thank you, TJ. And thank you guys for watching. I streamed on 3 different platforms: Periscope, YouTube, and Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you didn't catch the live, you can also watch the replay, because I will keep this up and I made it public. So I want to be able to help somebody, even if it's just one person. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, TJ.
All right, take care.